again, it will be NRG versus Mirage.
So NRG, this is another team that prefers to play a 2-2-2. They will match a 3-0-3 if absolutely necessary. That's what we saw happen up against Goats in the grand final of the Beat Invitational about a week ago. But this time around, they are going to go for a 2-2-2. That's going to be with the Widow and Pharah in the mix.
And we'll see, of course, on the other side. Boys, once again, back up to the Hanzo, but it's going to be J3. Actually with a kill, and even Matt finding another onto Smex.
So despite the fact that Jesus has that Widowmaker, not going to be able to put that initial pressure onto Stratus right off the bat from that res, but finds it there. Gonna find that kill, and Swan now under pressure. Matt and Jesus have opened this thing up in such a big way. These angles being taken by Jesus right now, they really need to make a statement here because the open division wasn't what they got, or wasn't what they wanted. They need to be able to prove that, to their org and to everybody, that this is a team worth fearing.
And now this will prompt some swaps coming out of NRG. Stratus will take a shot at Hanzo, whereas Poise will look to contest both the Pharah and the Skies as well as Jesus on that Widowmaker, who's been extremely good in terms of landing those shots, but overall advantage in terms of the positioning as well as those ultimates still in favor of Mirage.
And it's going to be so tough to push into them. They try to pull them up and try to land that hook, not going to get the timing right, but look at this. We see a flank from Matt actually around the backside where he's found his way into Poise's face, finds the kill, now still behind. There is no protection left.
And with both DPS out of the picture here, we'll see once again Mirage look to stir another team fight with Matt. Picking up two, Fika will find one himself. And once again, it's been all about Mirage as they have 54% built up.
And remember that NRG is the team that took Goats on in the grand finals just a week ago, and Mirage Sport, a team that struggled in the open division, turning around and dominating these first few fights so far against this team of NRG players. Now Smex looking to re-engage. Does take out the Venom Mine, also holds on to the Whole Hog himself, and look at this angle, Jesus just free farming away on this Widowmaker.
Very important picks because without that Mercy, wait, there's no res, but the return fire out of Poise is good. So still going to be a prolonged fight as now the supercharges go through. Poise finds another, and finally we might just see NRG get the point in their favor.
Two picks like that could be all the difference. However, we do see Jesus coming back into it. Matt's going to be swapping over to that second sniper, over to the Hanzo as Smex on the back end. Oh, gets a nice right click onto Progi. Optimal distance being shown at 99% now. NRG looks to take this fight and the point with it.
And they need to make it happen because at this point in junction, we'll have to see them just hold strong on top of it, make sure they do stagger this ultimates accordingly, because one more team fight loss means that this will go in favor of Mirage for this first round of Ilios.
You see Poise. They brought him in from Kangdu Unsia, if I'm not mistaken. This is a fantastic DPS player, having a chance to show off the Widow skills. Look at this Dragon Strike coming through, though, from Stratus. Great positioning, and this going to force out the Transcendence. Still so much pressure being thrown through that, as Jesus does find the kill onto that Hanzo, and Jesus now pulling back, still has that angle with the Infrasight. He does have a possibility of taking this a pick that they're going to need to stay in this fight.
We'll have the supercharger.
He's sneaking.
Oh! And a big one at that position, but in the meantime, Raw 420 also with a kill of his own. We'll look to still keep this afloat here for NRG. We do have 52%, and it's going to be very important now. Fika brought back into action will instantly get taken down as they will look to regroup and reset. And at this point, NRG full steam ahead.
Drop Dap, you on the wrong account, my dude. You need to change that name real quick. But Progi kind of hiding away with Haku. Oh, he gets spotted as we saw Poise come around that corner, looking to equalize here and take this map themselves. Look how aggressively they're positioned. And they will likely fall back a ways as we see the hook come out. Not going to connect, and Jesus gets the first pick. 6v5 advantage. We're going to see Jer come out with that Valkyrie, and it's going to be Fozix on the other side with the res on the Poise.
But Trusted is available on both ends. We'll see the Dragon Strike come out of Stratus. Will not secure anything as Haku was lying away. In the meantime, Cheer takes out Boys with that Bloodthirsty supported. As we will see Jesus get another kill onto Fuzix. Maybe finally it's their time to shine. But in the meantime, we do see Rob get another kill. It's still a back and forth fight as Progi eventually gets a Vessel Swan and Jesus coming back in. Up from the side, secures another onto Smek. They do get the point. Now only need to get those final few kills. Those last few members trickling in for NRG. Fuzix desperately trying to stay alive. Will not manage to do so for too long. And in the end, Mirage keep their composure and get this first round win.
Mirage. I mean, we have been seeing surprises after surprises so far. And Mirage taking this first one, able to somehow maintain composure after NRG Esports looked like they were going to be able to turn that one around. They finally got that last fight in their hands. Jesus really popping off on that Widows to be able to help secure that as well. And now as we move into this next map, this is where things, I think, get very interesting because this is where Double Sniper comes out a lot. Certainly you like to see Widow here. You know, it's a prominent pick for a lot of teams, but bringing in the Hanzo is another thing that we've seen a kind of staple as of late as well.
And already in this matchup, we've seen how important that matchup between Jesus and Poise really is. And now that we are on Ruins, we'll look to see who can get that all too important first blood to potentially secure a kill onto Mercy, who would go in for the rest. So far, still battling it out. Nobody getting an advantage just yet, taking pot shots at each other as both teams meet halfway.
You can tell those Widows really want their opposing Widow kill quickly. Jesus will take the kill onto Swan. Progi gonna get rezzed up. Jesus still finding another, so even if the res does come out, Jesus! Oh man, someone finally finds him. Poise takes him out. As it looks like it's still a back and forth, but there it is. Mirage once again takes the first cap off the back of Jesus, opening things up for them.
Too little too late for Boys right there, as we'll see Jesus already with that Infraside at the ready and with the point cap in their favor. Once again, somewhat of a deja vu from what we've seen in that previous round, building up an advantage for themselves. We'll have all too important intel, knowing where the enemy's positioned at.
Oh, the Infrasight. Jesus is looking for it. He wants revenge on Poise. He wants to find this kill quickly so that he can tie this one up on this map. Haku got pulled in there. Does force the Transcendence out as Smex pulls back. Dragon Strike to come out as well from Math as Jesus does find Poise, equalizing that stat as well.
And now that he will have free range to dish out that damage, it's going to be once again all about Mirage as they continuously collapse on top of this NRG roster. But Zix will go down in the end as well, and already 54% built in favor of Mirage, and they did force out their Transcendence. Fuzix still has that Valkyrie, whereas Jer used it instead, but overall, this is gonna have to be a repeat performance of NRG, and not only that, an even better one to secure a map equalize, or point equalize here with a 1-1, potentially.
Oh, great pull to allow some free damage to come out from Jesus. He gets his Infrasight up. And they're going to send the self-destruct right over the top. Oh, it gets caught on the pole, and that actually works out in their favor. They find the kill on the Roadhog.
But in the meantime, Progi did go down, so finally we see NRG find those kills once again. The Resurrect coming out of Jer is not going to be too successful. Boys, let's go down once again. The Dragon Strike is at the ready. Fuzix almost gets punished for dashing right in. But in the end, once more, it will be NRG getting that point barely before reaching overtime.
Rob 420 popping off. Rob Dab, my apologies. Popping off, and they do manage to get that flip. 10% now, as it goes ahead, and they're trying to accrue more, of course, as they're down 1-0 in the map. Best of 3. Math getting the opening pick, forcing the res out from Fozix, and now looking to approach. Oh, a nice hook out from Smex as well. Forced to pull back, though, as the Discord comes out, and there's the Dragon Strike.
That will force out that Transcendence, but it's gonna be Jesus finding yet another kill onto Phasix, and now with the return Transcendence, it is gonna be looking very dangerous for NRG, even though they get Pika desuited. Once more, it's all about this DPS coming out of Mirage, as we will see Jesus still yet unanswered. Even Haku gonna go kill himself, and once again with 97% onto the point, they flip it once more, and one last mad dash will be coming out for NRG.
Jerd has the Valkyrie, but he's dead, so he's going to try to pop this and get back into the fight. They need to stall for enough time so that they can bring him back in and keep hold of this, but that's, I don't think going to be the case. He's still coming through, but with Fika down, Jesus with a pick onto Smex. Stratus is still finding kill after kill, and Jerd does fall, so the Valkyrie from the spawn not going to be able to accomplish what they wanted, which was, just holding onto the point and taking the map right then and there. So we do see Smex now going back over to the D.Va, and swaps being made on both sides just to go back, as we actually, sorry, no swaps on the side of Mirage Sports. But again, 63% though. Mirage Sport with Jesus looking for that first pick, trying to open this up, getting an early advantage so that they can take this one back.
Dragon Strike at the ready for Stratus. We'll look to see how he's going to be able to use it, as so far, Zelda Strike will go through. Haku, the first one to go down, and now with another kill here for NRG, it's still going to be Mav looking to retaliate, finds one with the Storm Arrows. Jer does have to resurrect onto that main tech. Jesus finally contested with that Hanzo coming out of Stratus. Dragon Strike from the other end. We'll look to see Matt pick up one kill onto Poise. Soon enough, overtime there as well, but it's going to be Matt with a double kill.
And he's coming back through, gives his team vision of that wall, which definitely will help them out in the long term. He's still putting some pressure on the Phasix, won't find that kill initially, and look at this, Swan coming through, batting away. Sure will possibly find Jesus on the Tracer as well, but he backs away from that one. Fika on the other side will charge into Rob Dab as Stratus comes back on the Sombra as well.
And we'll see, especially Swan there with that Primal Rage, just feed Haku to the Wolves as he pushed him right on top of that objective. And now, with a member advantage, definitely favor NRG. They will get the kills, they will get the point, and we'll keep this one close now, 1-1.
Wow, 1-1 tying things up. Mirage Sport so close to taking that map, but NRG won't let it go. This time they take it away, and now we'll move into the final stage here. Onto Lighthouse. I definitely expect to see, I was expecting to see someone on Pharah, but it is going to be Math this time around. Jesus is going to bring out the Hanzo, and this is that kind of classic 2-2-2 flavor that we're expecting out of Mirage Esports. NRG opting for a 2-2-2 themselves, but a different flavor of it. Looking a little bit more similar, I would say, to bringing out Swan and Smex on Orisa and Roadhog respectively, and they also have a triple DPS for now, although I imagine Phasix will swap after they get some initial pressure into Math.
Most likely looking for the Pharah for now. Will make that swap indeed,
Yep,
but
there it is.
Interestingly enough, Poise will be on that McCree, and overall it's looking like NRG do find that first blood as they will continue to go through, push the opposition away. Jesus, of course, being brought back up. In the end, as Jerd did have that Resurrect available, but already in terms of that positioning, looking good. The hook did go through, however, wasn't quite at the angle Smex was looking for, but still, in the end, this is looking like NRG's gonna get that first cap.
Oh, and jumped on by the tank line of Mirage Sports. They're finding some kills, so yes, NRG took the point. Yes, they have control of it, but re-engaging, Mirage Sports might have an opportunity to push in here, but we do see Jur hooked out. Smex will connect this time onto the Mercy, and he will help the rest of his team close things out. This Roadhog is now on fire.
And a different type of approach. This time around, we do have NRG have that first point cap already building up a pretty good advantage for themselves. No swap on either side as of yet, as Matt under so much pressure in this round.
Math in the air right now, taking some heat. Deadeye available, he's going for it, will find Math. No protection in the sky at all. That's gonna force the res out though, as Smex does land another hook. It will be protected by the defense matrix, and they jump up and deal with Stratus.
The boys did find those kills, and even though they deal with Stratus, Bowser's right there to get the resurrect. Now even Dragon Strike to secure the side as he gets both aerial targets. Jaren Math once again out of it. Fika with a late staggered kill here too. NRG coming into their groove finally.
And they get that late kill onto Fika, 63%. You're not going to see him back up until about 68, 69. And once they do get everybody ready to go, grouped up, by the time they actually engage, they're going to have to be fighting on the point, contesting it the whole time, because this could easily be a situation where even if they win it, NRG will be at 99%.
And we'll have to see whether or not they can make that happen, as Haku does find that first out to Stratus. Very important here, as they will collapse near the point. We'll have that whole arc come through. However, Math is going to find Smex, and now, as Jesus did make the swap himself over to the Tracer, we will see Mirage get the point right before overtime.
Yeah, right before it. So I was wrong. They were able to take that very quickly. And Rob Dab does have his Transcendence. Coming into this next fight, they also have the Deadeye that managed to take Math out of the sky very easily a couple of fights ago. And I'm sure we're going to be seeing that come out, as well as Poise just looking for an opportunity to get that. And you see, an answer to Jesus. And yeah, Stratus does take Math out, and now the res is gone, but Deadeye is still available.
So the was Bob. Deadeye secures the kill to the Mercy, and now with NRG claiming kill after kill, they will look for that point. They will look for that map win. Swan losing his supercharger for his troubles, but once more, NRG claiming this point once more.
So they will flip it. It's at 94%. Dragon Strike available. We're going to see Brogy look very aggressive to try to get in here. Jesus will stall it to trigger the overtime. Robdab takes him out. Brogy jumps in. Dragon Strike likely to come out as Stratus is holding on to that for the best opportunity. And there's the whole hog from Smex pushing them all off the point. And that's all they needed. As now NRG comes back in a big way. They take the first map 2-1 on Ilios.
But definitely a close matchup, as Mirage was looking like potentially the favorite after those first 2 points. While yes, on the second, NRG came back, managed to clutch it out. It was still extremely close call. And now that we did see the likes of Smex really perform on that Roadhog pick, finding those hooks, getting the D2 time and time again of the opposing Diva was what they needed.
And I think a lot of people probably saw the bracket initially, and they were looking at it and thinking maybe, you know, there's an outlier here, you know, NRG versus Mirage that really, you know, again, stumbled in open division. Are they going to even have a shot? Well, obviously, the answer is yes, they have a shot. They were very close to being able to, you know, take that map there. They looked pretty good, especially on those first 2 maps. They really had a good opportunity there. NRG eventually did take it, but there are more maps to come.
And the next one up will be Eichenwald. Stay tuned. Now we're going to go off onto the first hybrid map in this matchup between NRG and Mirage, but already looking much closer than maybe some expected.
Yeah, absolutely. NRG and Mirage Esports are definitely really competitive right now between each other, and I'm loving it because this is a team, Mirage Esports, that I think got a little bit of some bad flack, I think, coming into this because it didn't. I mean, a lot of teams weren't sure if they were going to be, or a lot of people out there, audiences weren't sure exactly how ready they were going to be, and obviously they're a lot more prepared than we maybe would have expected.
And so far, definitely making it very difficult for NRG to claim those wins on the board. Already, though, having said that, it will be that hybrid, and this is where we can see different just takes from both of these teams, not only when it comes to the composition, but also the positioning and their overall approach to Eichenwald.
Yeah, and I'm definitely expecting to see Hanzo. I'm expecting to see, some Widowmaker. I'm definitely expecting to see possibly now some 303 to come through as well. And I'm not sure exactly if we'll be getting anything, more unique than that, if we're going to be getting, some last night's leftovers type flavor. But I would say Pharah, possibly Widowmaker, and then possibly some Hanzo as the DPS options that we get out of these two teams.
Especially since Jesus has been really popping off on that particular character with Widowmaker, but we'll see what will happen. As so far, it is going to be Mirage on defense, and indeed Jesus will be sticking to that Widowmaker math once again onto the Pharah. So look to see Jesus once more be the one to pop off with that first blood.
Oh, they're actually only running the three I mentioned right now. Hanzo, Widowmaker, and Pharah on both sides. Jesus trying to put some pressure onto Stratus. He started off well as that forced the res out Swan kind of low, and Jesus does go down as Poise has found two heads to start out this fight. He now found the body of Matt. Cher now getting away barely with his life.
Has desperately tried to run away. Boys has been setting his team up for success right now already. We'll see. 3 minutes and 10 seconds, 78%. Potential one final contest coming out of the Santos Mirage. So far, they could get there on time, but now it's going to be all lambs to the slaughter. NRG claiming those kills, building up those advantages, and even though Jesus is doing his damn hardest to make sure things are difficult here for NRG, he claims two, but nothing else for his troubles.
Yeah, Jesus is definitely playing so well right now. He just needs to make sure that the team comes together so that they can win these fights. Otherwise, Mirage Esports, I mean, they're going to be taking another map loss. So they really have to come together now. NRG behind, especially Poise. Smex on this Roadhog has been phenomenal as well. And you have to think, I mean, with this composition that they're running here, this isn't something you all the time see, but it is not the first time we've seen these two tanks together.
And on top of that as well, it seems like Stratus will favor that Genji pick, and now Rob picking Math out of the sky here onto the side. We'll even see the hook connect onto Fika, and without a D.Va in the picture, we'll have the Dragon Strike look to be sated. But so far, it's still going to be Jesus retaliating, but it needs to have the rest of Mirage, as you said, come together, because outside of Jesus, it's still all about NRG on Eichenwald.
But a lot of ultimates coming in, so this is where they're going to start talking about the execution, what strat they want to go with to go ahead and come back into this map. Next fight needs to look phenomenal for Mirage Esports, and they have to find some way to pull out Rob Dab's Transcendence here, or else he can cancel out a lot of the weapons that Mirage Sports are going to bring to the table.
And I was about to say, it might just be up to Jesus on that Tracer, but in the meantime, Smex, just an absolute menace on the Roadhog, claims another kill in the end after Fika, and even though Poise did manage to go down to that Primal Raging Winston once more, look at how close that payload is towards that second objective. Finally, we see Proggy come in.
NRG just running this one through. Math tries to turn things back around, but Stratus with the blade finds him in the air. He's continuing forward. Self-destruct comes down, gets a little bit of damage off, but not a kill that they were looking for. 320 as they're going to add some to that. 450, their new time bank already into the third phase of this map.
And now with even further adaptations coming out of Mirage, they'll continuously be at an old disadvantage, as we will see Stratus pick up Proggy as well. Once more with this forward aggressive positioning for NRG, they're going to continue to apply so much pressure for them.
They also have the Dragon Strike And this could be deadly in this next fight, as we do see, like you were mentioning, a couple of adjustments being made. They still don't have anything to deal with the Dragon Strike, and that actually doesn't get much done.
And now with the self-destruct coming through, it's gonna charge on Pika, but in the meantime, Stratus with those dash resets, with the Swift Strike swiftly, just getting those first few kills, especially on the base and nobody from Mirage makes it on the payload.
With things quickly falling apart for Mirage, despite Jesus really, I mean, having a great performance. And that was something we saw as well from, you know, his past team when he was playing with Kingarna after, you know, being with Renegades for quite some time. Going over to Kingarna, you know, he was very consistently having a really good go of it, I would say. You know, there was some ups and downs, but for the most part, I think Jesus was, you know, looking pretty solid. And even here with Mirage Sport, he is easily the standout of this team right now. I mean, far and away the person that has done a lot throughout this series to help Mirage Sport stay in this matchup. But NRG Esports has shut all of that down, silenced all of that, and taken that last point now with 4:03 remaining. And looking forward, it looks as though defensively we're going to be getting a McCree and Pharah out of Poison Stratus. And on the attack, I mean, do you think they're going to swap to a 3-0-3? Do you expect them to go with a 2-2-2?
I think they're going to just stick to Jesus on the Widowmaker for now, because the Pharah is to be expected on this first point, both defensively as well as offensively. And now as we will even have Falzix go towards that Mercy, something you should have expected. We'll still have Poise on that McCree, and that's been one of the big things. You can not only shut down the likes of Math, but if Jesus does decide to go once more to that Tracer, you should have a really good time when it comes to dealing with him. And so far, on top of all of that, Smex has had an absolutely stellar performance.
Absolutely. I mean, there has been a lot of good plays coming out from NRG Esports, but I think Smex has topped them all. Poise right there with them, I would say, a lot of the time as well. But starting things off, you already do see Stratus laying in some damage into the shield, and we're going to have some aerial warfare between these two Pharahs as Jesus pulls out the Widowmaker. Both of these hit scans, Poison, Jesus definitely going to be battling to see who can put the pressure out and give their team that early advantage.
And even now, Smex is another danger we might have, or for Math potentially here, as we will have an interesting swap. Jesus does shy away from that Widowmaker now on to that Brigitte, and this should give him better team fight opportunities on top of that, the payload on top of that objective, as they will look to push forward.
And they're actually, it's the 3-0-3 with subtracting the Zarya and adding a Pharah instead. They're going to go right in, and NRG Esports will dispatch it quickly, very easily and very quickly, repelling that first attack. Mirage Esports backed off now, and perhaps they will swap eventually to that Zarya, as Math is still currently on the Pharah instead. And there it is. They do make that swap. Jesus and Haku first. Math to follow now. Here it goes, round 2, this time with the 3-0-3 Brawl comp.
The problem is Stratus will pretty much be, for the most part, relatively uncontested in the skies. That was really what led to Mirage Sports' downfall in that last engage, and now already under Rod of pressure, Haku forced to use that all-too-important cooldown, and with the Rocket Barrage at the ready, it is going to be a 1-for-1.
And Haku pulling out the Coalescence now as they look to turn this fight back around. Definitely putting out the pressure. Here's the Deadeye from Poise. Can they find anything? They come back around. Actually debated there by Math, who pulls out the self-barrier there. Swan now trying to stay alive against the onslaught that is Mirage Sport. As they pull them into the corner, they're coming around it. Jesus comes through, Smex with the hook, not going to solidify the kill onto the Brigitte, and it's Stratus in the air, trying to find the damage onto Jesus, and they're still searching for it. They're still going to be able to hang tight in this fight.
And it was off the back of Rob's Transcendence as well, but as you will see now, Poise come back with that Junkrat. He will get one onto Pika. The second one will secure onto Jesus, but Air Shatters there, Matt, on that Zarya. Sound Barrier to reinforce this team, but as it's still gonna go on, Graviton is finally available, and with those few kills, in the end, it's all up to Smex. Falzix and Swan still stall this one out, and make sure they buy enough time for the defense.
Haku bring out that Coalescence is what they need to make sure that they hold on to this momentum they created for themselves. Smex Oh, does get stunned out of his heal, so he will go down as well. Quick reaction time from Jesus to deny that healing. And off the back of that, they will secure that first objective. Great play to be able to get that, but a lot of time stolen by NRG Esports.
Only 3 minutes and 32 seconds right now, but we'll see some swaps on both ends. Jesus back up to the Widowmaker, as Stratus did stick to that Pharah once more, and with Swan and Smex and the rest of the team just looking to potentially more a dive-oriented composition, it's gonna leave things very difficult for those squishy members of Mirage.
Double sniper gonna be hit right in the mouth by Stratus, having that barrage at the ready. He finds two and is still alive to tell the tales. As we see the self-destruct come out as well, easily NRG cleaning things up once again, defensively looking phenomenal so far. And they have now Mirage Sport still on that dive, that double sniper, and you have to wonder if they want to go back over to the 303 as that's what got them the first point, or if they're still thinking ahead, you know, how to deal with that high ground with the 303. Is it possible for them or not?
It is so far, though, prompting the Riptire secure kill onto Jesus, and Matt coming back will find one himself onto Kha'Zix as he gets a second. Finally gets taken down by Rob in the end. It will be contested by Fika, but once more, just looking at NRG Esports to contest them towards their spawn. It's going to be so much time shaved off of that time back. 2 minutes, 12 seconds, and only 21 meters, 154 on the board for them right now.
Jesus looking for the kill onto Smex, will find it, and they will move this payload on forward. 2 minutes to get through this second stage of Eichenwald. And Haku taking some heat, I believe, from Stratus, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it was Stratus. And now Swan looking to engage with the rest of his team. They're coming around the corner, looking quite aggressive, and there's the Dragon Strike to come out.
It splits off the side of NRG as the tanks are sectioned off from the rest of the members. Jesus will find that first kill onto Poise, but Smex with a return onto Proggy will leave this front line of Mirage very vulnerable, as you will see the rest of the supports go down, and once again, NRG find the space they need even throughout the Dragon Strike.
Jesus again finding such a clutch pick and not able to secure the fight win with it. Stratus now has his Dragon Strike. Gonna be looking to try to put some damage onto Jesus, who did spot him for a moment there, but nothing's gonna happen because of it. Both of these Dragon Strikes at the ready. Haku having his Transcendence. You have to wonder whether or not NRG can be able to win this despite an ultimate advantage for Mirage Sport, and the Dragon Strike comes out, but I would say a little flaccid in comparison to what we really need to see out of them.
But without Swan in the picture right now, they will have a little bit of an easier time in terms of contesting that Widowmaker. Proggy and Haku claiming 2 kills onto those DPS. Math still being very lethal on that Hanzo, but Smex, even in the baby Tifa form, will fight quite a bit alongside a self-destruct too, and with it, it seems like Smex once again being lights out for his team.
Smex will fall back here. Might lose his effect though. Somehow staying alive for now, but there it goes. And Mirage Sport cleaning up now. Dragon Strike ready for Stratus. Not going to be able to have an opportunity to pull it out, as they'll look to go ahead and regroup, re-engage. Math will have a great opportunity, I think. I mean, having the Dragon Strike here is so important, because as they come through overtime with this, he's going to be able to put it into the side. He's going to throw it out. And actually answered by Stratus. Both of them don't really get much out of those Dragon Strikes.
We'll have that Transcendence timeout though for Haku, and now as Stratus does find the kill onto Proggy, member advantage will be building up in favor of NRG, and it's right before that second point too. We'll have Boys get the pulse bomb kill, but 4 more members left here for Mirage.
They need to win this fight here. Jesus hanging on. Haku makes a swap over to the Genji to go up over the wall and try to make it back in time, but does he have enough of just that? As Swan gets away for the self-destruct, has his barrier come up in time, but he needed to protect his team. That actually might be the turning point. He needed that barrier on his team and let them down for this time, as NRG does actually make the stop despite that. Mirage Esports, off the back of what was, I believe, a triple kill from that that self-destruct that went up, we're just not able to secure it in the end. And you see Poise here taking the play of the game. getting that sharpshooter tag as well. And this was them opening things up on the Hanzo. I mean, this man has had a game for sure. Look at that.
Not just poise on the Hanzo. Once again, even if it was the Roadhog, even if it was the Diva, Smex was on point both times. It was as well on the offense, defense too. And now that we did have that hybrid map set up, definitely looking like NRG are going to be favored.
Yeah, I mean, and moving forward, it's so important to make sure that you have a solid dive, to make sure that you have solid sniper play as well. And yes, Jesus is looking great. I mean, especially on the Widowmaker. However, when you go up against poise like that, you have to be able to constantly be able to answer that. You have to be constantly able to have an off tank that, and even a main tank in some situations that are able to put the pressure on the opposing Widowmaker, the opposing Hanzo, whatever it may be, especially if it's on a high ground defense. And Smex, alongside Swan, I mean, honestly seemed like the right duo to pull that off.
And we'll have to see Mirage Esports bring this one back. It's match point for NRG. It is match point for NRG. This is where Mirage Esports need to make the reverse sweep happen if they are to advance through the top side of the bracket and now drop down to losers. And at this point, considering the fact that when it came down to it on that hybrid map, it really looked like they didn't quite have that synergy with, especially with those two tanky members.
I mean, we already saw how they really got stuck once we brought in the dynamic of, you know, height and everything like that, bringing out some verticality into the map. That really kind of threw them for a loop. Mirage Esports on a map like this, on Anubis, especially for point A, they could potentially lose a lot of time there. And that will cause a lot of issues because moving into point B, not having a good time bank to work with could really kind of throw things away for them. So this is going to be a tough map, I think, for Mirage Sports. But if they can take this, then I'm really looking forward to seeing what they've got in store for us to move forward at a potential reverse sweep. But it's going to be pretty tough.
And at the very least, considering the fact that they will be starting things off on offense, is this where they pull that free composition straight from the get-go? Because on one hand, you did have Jesus, who is still the best performer of your team on that Widowmaker, and we've seen how pivotal that can really be on the Anubis.
I would expect to see Jesus on the Widow. I would expect to see him sticking to that. However, as we now jump into the game, he is actually on the Widow, and interestingly, they're going with the Genji to go along with it, going full dive here, allowing to have some space for Jesus as he's going to go up, but still will have to deal with Poise opposing him, and actually Jesus will swap now to the Tracer to put pressure onto that Widowmaker.
We'll see if that is going to be successful, because in the meantime, Stratus is able to charge up rapidly towards that Riptide at 44%. Good to go, and once again, because of the overall positioning, it is going to be favoring the defensive side of NRG Esports.
We will see Jesus trying to get into position as well as Poise on the middle ground, I guess. Now he will try to pull them back over to the point and slowly getting closer to that first tick. So they will have to react, and what a way to react right there.
Pulling the trigger, we'll finally have Mirage claiming kill after kill, looking to secure this first point already. Jesus does go down. Poise still looking to strike back, but overall, this should be NRG losing it out. But as I say that, Poise still looking to fight this one. Gets taken out of the shoot. It's a one desperate attempt. Doesn't go too successful in their favor, but this might have bought enough time for the rest of NRG to regroup.
Well, they have to push in quickly, and they're going to come through that tiny little choke point to get back into this one, jumping right onto those healers. Haku will be able to find a kill onto Stratus, but he will go down in the end as well. Still, though, Mirage Sport takes that fight. They take that first point, not losing as much time as I thought they would. They will move on to the second, as we see a little bit of an adjustment here from NRG. Poise will now be on the Sombra instead of Stratus, who has moved over to the Brigitte.
And this should, at the very least, give him a better opportunity to fight against this dive composition, as we'll have Haku pull that Transcendence. However, even with Jesus going in for the pulse bomb, it's not going to find too much success. And now, with the Blade, this is where the instant answer will come out here for Rob. And with a 1-for-1 trade, without that Mercy, the staying power is lessened. And in the end, NRG should be able to stabilize.
And that's always the hardest part about Sombra being brought into the comp, especially, you know, off of the back of a swap from Sombra to Sombra onto someone else. That first fight is so difficult. If you can win that one, or rather, maybe not so difficult, but it's the hardest stage. Once you start flowing with the Sombra, things get a little bit more smooth. Now that they're going to have the EMP available, they can start playing with timings of ultimates a little bit better. And actually, Stratus will go to a Junkrat to combat what is now a 3-1-2 being brought to us by Mirage Esports.
But they also have that EMP already charged up. Haku is going to be the prime target here for Poise. However, he's being spotted out, and he said he will have to translocate after that situation. But overall, once more, Swan having that primary smacks has been pretty deadly. Even with the self-destruct, it's going to be the EMP, but Rob, the first one to go down, will be brought back up. And with the help of said ultimate on that EMP, NRG is still looking to brawl this one out.
A lot of pressure coming out from that swap. Stratus pushing forward, Poise as well, looking to try to recoup that ultimate. Need to get that EMP back up. And now I'm curious to see if they're going to stick with this. Ooh, a little hook there coming out as well from Jesus. He now has his whole hog. Vika only at about 46 towards that Graviton, though. And look at what NRG Esports has to be able to delay with. I mean, virtually everything. They only need that EMP. That's a pretty quick generating ult, I would say, even still. So now the Riptire to start the fight. Stratus looking for something.
Oh, but it's going to be Poise bringing out that first 2 kills in the back line, already taking out those supports, and now Fika's gonna drop as well. Once more, we only had NRG use 1 ultimate, and look at that, 80% towards the next EMP. And this is just gonna be even more difficult now for Mirage to make anything happen, because Haku is gonna be time and time again the prime target for that Sombra.
Dragon Strike ready from Matt. Still need to get Fika caught up, have that Graviton ready so that they can take them down. But even still, look at the way that they're taking them on from all these different angles. Fika trying to get away here won't be able to accomplish that, I don't think, as they're still going to continue this aggression. He actually does manage to get away, 98% towards this Graviton Surge, but even if he throws it down, there haven't been too many opportunities where NRG Esports is, you know, together enough for them to find enough value, and even if they do get it, they still have Transcendence.
And in return, they can fire definitely back with a lot of ultimates themselves. We'll look to see what Poise is going to be able to do, but finally, we do see both DPS here for NRG go down, and this is going to signal Mirage to just charge in.
They need to do something now. Robdab will keep things alive. Transcendence goes out. Bosnix will be taken down by the Graviton Surge, but that's it for the Graviton. So now they need to make this fight work, or they just use that for not enough value.
Stratus even coming back in onto that Doomfist. Doesn't find any kills just yet, but Fika all by off onto the side will get taken out. Boys manages to find another kill, and without these tanky members here for Mirage, he's just gonna slowly lose this one out.
They are taking kills, so they might be able to re-engage, but as they do, they're still kind of low a little bit. They're still kind of cracked. And it seems like with Math dying here, Poise on the Sombra has closed things out. Now NRG needs to make some swaps. Stratus will stick to this Doomfist pick, however, does have Meteor Strike, and we know something new about Meteor Strike now. You can actually block that damage with LOS with shields and everything. So that actually could potentially be something. However, we see him just go into the spawn, Meteor Strike, make the swap, back over to Junkrat.
This makes sense considering what the opposition is bringing to the table now, looking to charge it with that 303 comp. We'll, however, see easy hacks come through for Boys as they look to collapse on top of those squishy members. Sure, first one to fall as Smex once again has been so successful on the Diva, but as I say that, he does get desuited, and finally Mirage might make things happen for themselves.
Oh, good hack, but Poise is going to have to take a lot of pressure from Jesus on the Brigitte as the Sombra does fall. And it looks like they're ever closer to that second tick, going up over the top. Stratus looking to find the damage, does have the trap go off, does find a kill onto Haku, but they need to start using these ultimates to turn the fight. There's the EMP to start it off. Self-destruct goes out, and it's 2 kills. Fika, sure, go down. Poise takes Math out, and there's the Reptire to follow things up.
And before they get that third tick with 45 seconds left now, we will have Mirage only with 84.8% built up for themselves. They do have Froggy's Earth Shatter, but this forward positioning coming out of NRG should stop them dead in their tracks.
And Transcendence available as well as the Valkyrie. Progi trying to fight his way back into this one, has Earth Shatter, needs to find so much with it as Haku goes down as well. There's just no opportunity to get it out. The hack comes out again as Poise has been relentless with that ability so far, and Jer, I mean, it is quickly deteriorating for Mirage Esports.
I mean, let Progi play, let this man just do something, as so far NRG are going to get this team fight win convincingly, not even allowing Mirage to get back in, and they will look forward to win this one out and close it with a 3-0 win over Mirage.
Playing off from so many different high grounds, you know, all these different angles being taken. There was no opportunity for Progi to get anything done with that Earth Shatter when he finally did get it out. I mean, his whole team was basically dead at that point, and, you know, not a lot of targets, not great, you know, when you're in that situation. You have to feel for him for sure, but now they have a tough task, defending against NRG Esports after only taking 1 point and getting to 84.8% after 8 minutes of play in your attack. That's so difficult to be able to defend against now, because it could be all over right here as NRG Esports is up 2-0 in this best of 5.
And if you are Mirage Sports, what are you gonna do? This is the tough question for this first point defense, because it can really go south rapidly for you if you make the wrong choice in terms of those picks, in terms of those positioning. But it's gonna be a high round setup here, especially with Fika going in on that mate to make sure Froggy does get there. So slightly different approach to NRG. You think it is the safest overall comp on first point Anubis defense?
Well, it's tough to say. It certainly has a lot of ways to deal with certain things, but I mean, if you do get pulled down, if they do run a dive, if they do have Smex and Swan get up there and do their job correctly, which is to knock them back and force them, at least some of them, off the high ground, or potentially find some way to get a kill on whoever is actually contesting the point for them, then Mirage Esports will have to make some adjustments, will have to rotate away from this high ground that they have. But you already see them, taking a bunch of different angles. Math isn't even up there with them, at least not yet, and he might actually go behind to protect Haku and Jur behind. So I'm curious to see how they approach this Stratus. I mean, bringing the Mei through.
That is going to be really interesting. With that wall, is going to make sure the rest of his team will be safe and sound when it comes to approaching that objective right now, as they will look to go for the high ground. Smex already looking to set himself up with poise to push the opponents off of said high ground, as we've said, and very interesting approach. And so far, Math is going to be the first one to fall.
Ravdab getting things started for us as he does go down. Swan falls, but this still could be an opportunity for them to get in there. Jesus not getting the hook he wanted. Smex finds that kill. Frogi forced to jump down, doesn't have his barrier now, so he will have to get some healing, or they will lose him as well. Now rushing back into the fight. Math is coming back, and Ravdab still set up here. They're just going to be taking shots as they're waiting to re-engage and hoping for another kill before they do just that.
But Math did manage to build up quite a bit in terms of that Riptire. Should have it up and available soon enough. But on the other side, those all too important support ultimates will be online soon enough, as Wolsey already dive in. Bozak's the first one to pop with that bout. Jesus gonna be contested, already taken out, and now with a 6v5 disadvantage, this is looking very dire for Mirage.
Oh, Riptire though will come out. They actually kill it. Ravdab snipes it out of the air. Poise has been popping, and now Swan does actually get rezzed back up. Ravdab keeping the fight alive after answering with that Transcendence. Still though, kills for both sides as they have been so bloody into each other. Stratus finally coming out with the barrage will shut down Progi. They will find that kill, and now looking to try to get control of this objective. Have to deal with Jesus though.
And even Haku running back in. Primal Rage is going to make it very difficult for the Zenyatta to stay alive, and Swan claims that one. Ooh, the pulse bomb timing wasn't quite there. However, he still manages to finalize that kill onto Stratus. One tick finally available for NRG, but now that Jur does get taken out, we'll see NRG get that first tick soon enough.
Still though, I mean, that was a very good effort by Mirage Sport Electronique, because they got him down quite a ways, and now they have much less time than I would have actually anticipated that they have to defend point B. Yes, it's still going to be a really tough task. Yes, it's still likely to go NRG's way, but now have a much better shot.
Now that they do still stick with the Mei, we'll look to see if Poise can stay alive, how he's going to be able to use that Dragon Strike, but the answer is he's not going to be able to, as Jesus finds that kill. Bozak goes down too, and now we will have Mirage stabilize on the second objective.
And I think this is what I like the most, when you put Jesus on Tracer so he can just kind of flex that ability a little bit, because that's what we saw in Season 2, really solid performances, mostly on the Tracer, given, yes, the meta was a little bit better for it back then. Brigitte was not yet introduced to us, so I'm looking forward to this. However, again, because of the Brigitte being in the game right now, having that in the meta as well, they can easily shut Jesus down on this Tracer. It's just a question of whether or not they want to do that, and if they do, when.
And I'm also curious how they're going to use Stratus right now, as he might look to cut the options short of the opposition when it comes to running away from that Dragon Strike, as it will come out. However, it's going to be Math with the first kill, gets one with the use of that Riptire, and now with a 6v5 man advantage, we'll still see Mirage look to search for it. But as I say that, Bozak coming in with the Valve will get the rest onto that Mei.
Jesus still finding his way to flank into the backline. Self-destruct going up. and it lands its way right into the corner, but not going to find anything just yet. Robdab going to be taken down by Math. They just weren't getting what they needed done in that corner. They had to back out, not finding the kills, but there's the Dragon Strike. Maybe now they can.
And remember that they need to beat 84.8% in terms of that final objective. But finally, we also see Mirage come together as it's gonna be Smex onto that point. Now helped up by Swan, just to make sure he disengages the save matter. But Jesus gets another, gets a D-suit, and that's gonna be important because it's gonna buy them that much more time.
And I'm interested in this because now finally, okay, I was going to say they're still holding on to that Mei pick, but they do actually make an adjustment. It went over to initially the Junkrat, or the Mei, sorry, and then they went over to the Junkrat, and now they're going to go over to the Genji. So another swap there. But this is where they can add another body to that corner fight. If they can kind of push them back into that same corner, they are going to have a much better shot, especially as they develop that blade, get that up and running, where he can just dive right in alongside the frontline tank.
And so far, Supercharge is going to come out of Froggy, looking to push them away. Boys dropping extremely low, bounced up by those concussions, and now Bath having that rip tire is going to look for those targets, and Jesus will be going forward with it as well. It's going to be Poise and want to go down, but the Resurrect was available. However, Phozix did use that Valkyrie for it.
Still though, 2.5 minutes. Only one tick achieved by NRG Esports. They were stopped at 57.6%, so only about 9% away. And they jump in, re-engage. Dragon Strike almost ready for Poise, but Jesus still has been able to do so much on this Tracer.
Managing to stay alive. It's still gonna be that Dragon Strike coming out of Poise. Finds one kill, but not with the use of it onto Map. However, the Resurrect was there, and now finally bringing him back up. We'll look to see Mirage potentially still holding out strong, as the kills are going to be coming in their favor. Resurrect is there, but even with the use of that Transcendence, it shouldn't go in their favor, but Smex might be the one to turn it around.
And they have the blade still available should they want to use it. Self-destruct comes out from the other side. Here's the blade Transcendence to completely negate it. So Stratus will get nothing out of this. Oh, never mind. Jesus goes down with a quick flick.
He did get damage boosted rather by that Mercy. In the meantime, also Poise find another target. Then he has that Dragon Strike yet again. And with the out of picture, Prague, you will be the one to also go down. This is not looking good for Mirage, as so far they do have that Riptide looking for the target. He gets a double. And never mind. Now it does indeed look much better for Mirage, as that second tick didn't even go live for NRG.
And Jesus, again, on this Tracer, hunts down Phozix, recalls back into safety, claiming that kill, and now here it comes, Stratus. Are you going to make that change yourself as well? Or are you going to hold on to this blade? He's going to make it. Brigitte swap has occurred. We have the 3-0-3 comp. Jesus sees that. He's going to go over to the Pharah. They already have the Junkrat. They might already have the tools to deal with this.
It's going to be a close call, potentially, as already looking to approach this objective from the side. NRG clumped up, grouped up. Should allow Rob to charge up that Coalescence in quick succession, but overall having the compositional advantage potentially, as well as those ultimates. Mirage might have this one as they do pop that Supercharger, get the first kill onto Poise. No Zarya is going to be big, but Stratus does find a one return kill. However, the Resurrect will be their spawn advantage in favor of defense. Jesus gets the D-suit onto that all-too-important member, and we might see Mirage win Anubis.
Oh my, I mean, how are they going to be able to turn this around? 5 seconds left, they have all the kills they need, now it's just clean up. Robdab falls, so does the timer. Overtime should tick down as Poise dies off, and that will be Mirage Esports taking this map something like 85 to 58% on towards the second point. Both teams only capping out once.
And keeping the dream alive there. Reverse sweep rather, still a possibility here for the side of Mirage Sports Electronique. And now that will be going on to that escort type map, having seen the fact that Mirage can bring out an overall better performance when it comes to coordinating around this objective. It still might be looking better and better for them.
Yeah, and as we mentioned before this map, if they can take it somehow on Anubis, they definitely on a map like that, I think NRG has the upper hand, the advantage, given what we know about the dive execution and the way that they play together and everything like that, especially even considering, their history as a team together, who they've played, how they've, been able to compare to some of those teams as well. But Mirage Esport has found their way back into this one, turning things back around. Now they need to hold on to this and figure out a way to stick through Route 66, which will be the next map.
And it might come down to some more great plays from the likes of Jesus and the rest of his team, as we will move on shortly. Don't go anywhere. We have a series on our hands. Heroics now. It is going to be 2-1, still in favor of NRG. But the big thing is, considering the fact that we did see Mirage be so competitive on control, if they take Route 66, they're going to be looking very hot on that last control map.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how this map plays out, because if this does go the way of Mirage, then we could very well see them turn this series back around, because on control, they didn't look too bad at all. They actually looked quite good, especially starting things out. It did go 2-1 in NRG's favor, but there was some opportunities there for Mirage to take it. So I'm really curious about this map. I'm definitely hyped up about it. I'm sure everybody at home is excited about that, because, again, moving on to Route 66 now, that's going to be our escort map, and then following this will indeed be Lijiang Tower. And I mean, that could be bloody between these two teams for sure, given what we saw already on Ilios.
But of course, this is still NRG's match to win. If they are going to take this map win, they will be advancing throughout the winner's side of the bracket, where they are still sitting at a 2-1 advantage. So not going to be going into too much detail when it comes to that control map. If it's going to come out, we're going to talk a little bit more about it. But now that the teams are ready, we do know we will have on the defensive side to start it all off, Mirage. I'm curious to see whether or not they're going to stick to all of these double sniper comps, these Widowmaker comps, where, okay, they will still go with the Pharah, because, as said, Jesus definitely seems to be the man you want to rally behind if you are Mirage.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing with Jesus, you want to see him on Tracer, you want to see him on Widowmaker, and you want him to do as much as he can. You want to give him all the space and the time available to you. You want to enable him as much as possible. And here we go, actually a double sniper coming out from Mirage Sport Electronique to start things off, as Jesus will be heading things up with the Widowmaker, and to answer will be NRG with a double sniper of their own.
And we'll see Smex once again on the Roadhog, and once more, as said, Mirage will be able to find their first blood through Jesus Widowmaker. As Swan will be taken out, but brought back in to fight by Falzix, and now dropping pretty low. Math still able to dish out quite a bit of damage, but Poise finding that return kill. The Resurrect might come through, as it's gonna be in a safe spot.
Oh, the Halt pulling them up. They're looking for more than that. Oh, but Poise starting things off nicely for himself, finding Jesus, taking him out of the fight. And there he will follow up as well onto Cher, quickly turning this fight in their favor. And Falzix trying to keep up with them as well by rezzing up the rest of their teammates.
Prog and Vika still on this payload will be able to contest and make sure the rest of his team will potentially go back in for a contest, but now as Poise did get to take out Proggy, it will see NRG surge forward victoriously for now. And look at that, Poise still claiming those heads, but now we'll still have that double sniper comp, no swaps on either side.
Poise working his way around to trying to find anyone that he can, as he's been able to already. Vika going to be losing his mech and his life as well. And once more, a great opportunity for NRG to continue pushing forward, creating space for that payload to continue pushing along. And this has been a much easier map start for NRG so far.
Especially since they're even allowed to play so aggressively, looking to set up far forward. Falzix is gonna even pop that Valkyrie to make sure he keeps the rest of his team alive. And Specs once more coming alive on that Roadhog. Gonna find those hooks, gonna find those picks, as we'll still have that payload rapidly approaching that second point with 4 minutes and 20 seconds to boot.
Swan and Smex have come together so nicely to create those picks where Smex is able to hook right after the halt. And now we see them jumping in. Mirage Esports trying to halt this payload. And it doesn't seem like they're going to be able to do that for much longer, because NRG is surging forward. There's yet again another one of those combinations that we were talking about. And actually Smex with one left click takes out 2 bodies, and they take the second cap right after.
Big problem for this lineup of Mirage is the fact that even though you even had Haku at the ready with the Transcendence, they were just split in such a tough spot, unable to group up and make the most out of it. We'll see them now swap back to the 3-0-3, and now it's going to be up to NRG to snowball this one to a potential third point, but look at that wraparound.
Smex still. I mean, they have to get over to the payload to push it. So, I mean, it's the onus is now on NRG. You have to make a play, guys, to be able to start pushing this. But there it is, surging forward. It's going to be instead the defense of Mirage working its way around. And look at this, Poise on the backline once again on the Widow.
We'll find that kill. The Dragon Strike did come through out of Stratus, and now, as we will continue to see those hooks connect, it's going to be Poise with the headshots on that Widowmaker, and considering the fact that he should be able, or rather allowed, to set up top, we'll find those sidelines and make things that much more difficult for the defense.
Take a late kill. I mean, they have so much time to work with. They now have time to even set up and position themselves. That Brawl comp is tough, especially when you get ever higher with those ultimate charge. I mean, coming into this next fight, they need to really win this quickly, or Math is going to become very dangerous on that Zarya.
We'll have that Valkyrie damage boost and heal up, respectively, this lineup of NRG, as they will continue to surge forward, go and try and capitalize over the hooks, but so far, we'll have Mirage potentially getting the kills they need. Proggy finds the first one onto Swan, and without that positioning being available for offense, no resurrect can come through. Jesus finds another onto Rob, and it took them a while, but eventually Mirage do find the kills they need, and look at that, they will have Graviton, they'll have Earth Shatter, and soon enough, even the sound barrier to work with.
So here we go, Math. I mean, being able to bring out the Graviton here is going to be so good for them, although Rob Dab does have that Transcendence, so they need to make sure that they either Earth Shatter that out or take him out quickly, force that Transcendence out. There's a lot of different options, but one of them needs to happen.
As Proggy will go down, Transcendence will be there to neutralize that Graviton. No kills here for the side of Mirage, but now with the Sound Barrier committed as well, they need to keep up the momentum. They need to find set kills. Swan potentially the one to be bullied out and killed off, but no, gets saved up by the rest of his team, and as we will see the rest of NRG look to push forward. The Earth Shatter is going to drop 2 flat.
Oh, the Dragon Strike to come out. That's going to clothesline them. They can't continue pushing, but pulling away from this fight, I mean, maybe not the best time for it, as everybody else from his team was dead. So he is now at 4%. Boy's getting closer. Actually, he's going to make a swap over to Brigitte himself. Maybe they're going to be going with a 2-1-3 here, keeping the Junkrat so that they have that Riptire available to start the snowball for themselves.
We'll have on the other side that Coalescence at the ready, potentially looking to engage, but it's going to be the Riptire. That Fade will be an option, but no, it's going to be Jesus, the first one to go down, and the Coalescence will not manage to find the safety there for the Reinhardt and Proggy, and now Jer going out as well. It's going to be up to Mirage to somehow regroup before that final push, because NRG are definitely putting them pedal to the metal.
And they have the Earth Shatter. I wouldn't be surprised to see Swan set up in a spot where he can kind of sneak his way into a massive Earth Shatter, but he's actually sticking on the point. So this is a little bit different than what we've seen from other tanks using this composition. And there it is, Brogy to start things off. Graviton coming down as well.
It's gonna be the kills in favor of NRG. Even Proggy gonna be dropping down, and even with the Graviton, it's all about NRG as they find kill after kill. They just need to secure the last few, and at this point, a team kill was there, and with it, the 3rd point will be achieved here for NRG. But on the other side, still really well done by Mirage to make sure that 3rd point was as difficult in the end to really acquire.
Yeah, it's amazing what can happen when you swap to the 3-0-3 and start building up some ultimates. I mean, always going to be tough to deal with.
For sure, and now that we will have those 2 teams swap sides, we'll look to see what can Mirage really do to open up that first objective. On the other end, we'll potentially see NRG set up on top of Big Girls as well, but looking at Proggy now on that Reinhardt, might not really play the same type of comp, might actually go back towards that 303 with Haku on that Zenyatta.
5 seconds away here, Mirage Sport trying to turn this series back around. 2-1 now for NRG Esports. Things could end right here if Mirage don't take this all the way. They need to go the distance right here and right now. NRG, you can already see, they're going to be coming out with a Widowmaker and a Hanzo running the 2-2-2, bringing Smex out on what I think he's been doing best so far, able to connect with Swan as well. Halting, then bringing the hook out, finding a pick time and time again. It's a very consistent combo for these two. You know, obviously bringing Swan in here has, you know, not hurt anything, maybe even helped them a lot as well. Where these two can connect, the communication is clearly there. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what Mirage Esports can accomplish here. However, it looks like they're going to be bringing out the 3-0-3, so no holds barred for Mirage Sport. Although, maybe a swap up. Jesus on the Widow right now. Maybe just a start. Maybe he'll swap over to the Brigitte as they clear some distance, just to make sure that they don't get caught off guard.
And of course, on the defensive side, having the double sniper should make things a little bit difficult. And not only do they have the double sniper to really look to split their attention and deal with those backline members, Smex has been really good, as we've said, on that Roadhog in terms of that positioning.
Yeah, and we are going to be seeing Smex up front here on top and taking a different angle. And this is what I like to see against this type of composition. Take multiple angles, force them to kind of take damage from some side. I mean, you need to find a way to surround them, and that's exactly what we're seeing out of NRG.
if they can keep this up. They're definitely gonna put the opposition in a tough spot as Smex is still somewhat uncontested, lying it onto the side. Up top onto Big Girls makes things so much easier for Stratus, who is on the other side of the Route 66 right now, looking to dish out the damage, looking to get the kills.
Dragon Strike ready. This is a slow approach actually from Mirage Sport with this composition. One thing that you could definitely notice with a lot of times this composition, it's always aggressive, always trying to engage quickly, trying to get back onto the point, trying to jump into the enemy team, but they do come firing away out of the cave here, but again, just onto the payload, and then they just kind of stop. They aren't actually continuing forward. They're just happy with taking this payload and pushing it forward and waiting for NRG to make their move.
And at this point, this just allowed NRG to find those picks with the help of Poise. Now Smex, of course, back in action, coming right in. It's gonna be Stratus finding another kill onto Jer. And even though they got a payload pretty close to the objective, once more, it will be NRG winning this one out. They will have quite a few ultimates to work with as well. And even if Math does manage to find that charge or that Graviton in this next team fight, we'll have plenty of answers for coming out of NRG.
A lot of discussion surrounding this composition right now and what might work to, defeat it. And one thing that has come out, a lot of talk, at least right now, is, a stylistic change. And I think this is the right kind of move that NRG is making right now to deal with it. Don't engage them. Don't allow them to engage you. Disengage as often as possible so that you can take multiple angles, take the fight eventually. The only problem becomes when it comes to a control point, they just sit on the point and then you lose it.
As we'll have that Dragon Strike potentially opening things up for NRG. Goes a bit wide, but now with the Supercharger in play, it's actually going to be Poise going down. And with the Graviton now committed, Rob does have the Transcendence, but overall, Mirage might finally find the kills they were looking for.
Winning the fight and allowing them to take the cap. Poise now dropping the Widowmaker and instead moving over to a Junkrat, as Robdad will get taken down in that cave there as well. And finally, Mirage Sport takes the cap of the first point. About 50 seconds remaining. Now they have 3:20 to move through the second stage. Still running that 3-0-3, and NRG Esports can still take advantage of that, verticality, of that height control, just making sure that they have high ground controlled out, taking multiple angles. Look at all the angles that they're taking this from. They have almost every angle covered.
That was another big problem, considering the fact that Mirage wasn't able to win that point really in a rapid fashion. They couldn't set up offensively, and now will be split apart just ever so slightly by the Dragon Strike, as the rest of NRG are gonna be firing from all sides. Froggy gonna be dropping low. Self-destruct launched up into the air by Vega, finds one, a pretty big one onto Phosix.
Oh, and we also see NRG Esports holding up from that high ground with the Hanzo, just dealing damage there and still landing those kills. Graviton comes out. They do find Poise, but that's pretty much it. They find both DPS finally and cleaning things up. They found a way not only to sustain through that fight, but somehow turn it completely back around. Completely almost off of momentum alone, they're able to turn that fight on its head.
And now problems, while could still come out here for the defensive side. Having swapped over to the Pharah Stratus, should have an extra angle in terms of the next teamfight approach, but now it will be the Riptire coming out of Poise, looking to get onto that backline, but waiting patiently for now. Does get spotted out just about half, but it's still well on its way for those squishies.
Oh!
It gets the Moira.
And that's 2 kills now for them as Froggy falls as well. They will lose their Mercy. However, with all the kills that they have right now, they should be well on their way to winning this fight. Smex has just dove in alongside his other tank Swan, and they are just knocking everybody about as Jesus falls off the map from just that. Now only a minute 20 left for Mirage Sport, as it seems like they're making some adjustments now, going away from the 3-0-3, which has been halted completely, and going over to Pharah Widow with a dive comp from the tanks.
But they do get spotted on Stratus now. The Widowmaker will look to do much more, but it's gonna be both supports here for NRG going down, and maybe Mirage have finally made the second point obtainable as Fika's gonna find another kill. Does get desuited Indiana. Swan still left alive, manages to find that kill onto the D.Va. Jesus coming back on the Widowmaker, is gonna get one kill himself, and maybe Mirage can get this, but it's 43 seconds left. They're 2 meters and 83 away, and as Jesus claims another, they do get it in the end, and we'll have 2 minutes and 4 seconds for that third objective.
Still gonna be tough, and I would not be surprised to see a comp change happen once again. We see the speed boost come out, they're going over to it. They're gonna make that change. 303 likely to come out here, as Math will be the last one to make that adjustment. Now, all chips are on the table. They need to get this done. They need to find a way to get this third checkpoint against the Pharah Junkrat. As long as they can play this intelligently, they should be able to make the stop with these particular heroes in play.
They did spot out Swan to start things up. However, just chasing that Winston is not going to amount to anything, as Boys picks up 2 kills on those supports. And with this man disadvantage, they will be licking their wounds, looking to regroup. NRG now looking very hot, and with 1 minute 12 seconds left, still having that Transcendence. Soon enough should have even those DPS ultimates. Look at how aggressive they are in terms of their positioning as well. Mirage is under a lot of pressure.
I love the way that they're taking this on too, just slowly making little pokes until they get their ultimates online so that they can turn this fight quickly. Mirage at the ready, he goes around the corner. Yes, he goes down, but he takes 2 supports with him. Now there are none left on the board. It's just tanks for Mirage Sport.
Now Riptide even used their proc. It will go down map. Try to push that payload quite a bit, quite as far as possible, but with 44 seconds left, you want to regroup as soon as you can if you are Mirage, and they didn't even need to use Transcendence. NRG, that is, will have so much still to work with. On the other side, it's gonna take a very prolonged team fight to somehow build an advantage and get it all the way through overtime.
Just trying to develop those 2 DPS ults. The Riptire and the Mirage doing a lot of the heavy lifting, but still just poking and prodding until you can get those up, turning out some pressure and cracking the armor like I was talking about before. Surround them, multiple angles. Here comes the Riptire from Poise.
But they do manage to find that one kill to Stratus, but the Riptire secures 2 on both of the supports. Rob coming in with the Transcendence, even Primal Rage to push that Reinhardt away. Graviton is there, but the follow-up isn't. And even though Poise does go down, member advantage definitely in favor of the defense, and respawn advantage at that as well. Pika left on the point. Remember, it's overtime. Soundbear casted on only 2 members. Jared coming back in, but it seems like NRG has done it.
They have indeed. Overtime will tick down as Jesus falls, and NRG takes this series 3-1, but a battle throughout it.
And it was definitely a much closer series towards the end, considering the fact that Eichenwald was somewhat disappointing after that blowback of a first map on that control. Definitely Mirage fighting their groove on Assault as well made it competitive all throughout Route 66, and in the end they will be knocked to the losers bracket, and to their detriment it's gonna be